Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be answering the question, are they still in love with you? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Rose Quartz Pyramid, along with these cards. Group 2 is the Aventurine Obelisk, along with these cards. And group 3 is the Rhodonite Tower, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Rose Quartz Pyramid, along with these cards, which I will start with to get kind of a general overview about if they're still in love with you. We've got evolution, earth changes, climate change, transformation, rising above, clarity, freedom, solution, hope, and awaken. So right away it feels like not only are they still in love with you, but the love they have for you has grown exponentially, it feels like. From whatever they were experiencing or allowing themselves to really feel when you were dealing with them before, if this is a no contact situation, a separation situation, or if this is somebody that you're still dealing with, maybe you've just started to reconcile with one another, that this love that they have for you, the feeling that they have for you, it's definitely strengthening. It's growing every day. It's growing with time. The more they are sort of thinking about this, maybe dreaming about you a lot, spending a lot of time in meditation. You're kind of always running through their mind or popping into their mind at different times throughout the day, throughout the evening. And it's a very warm feeling that they have with all of these golden orbs here. This can really talk about kind of this golden center, this golden light of this very highly evolved love in the heart chakra. But this also really brings to mind the solar plexus chakra, a source of strength and of empowerment. It's the power center of that chakra tree. And it really does indicate that, again, the love has strengthened with that rising above. That's something that might have kind of died down or waned, or they had tried to extinguish this, tried to sort of forget this, forget about you, kind of close themselves off to that those efforts have been in vain. What might have just kind of dimmed down to an ember at periods of time has been re-sparked. And it almost feels like when this has been reignited, when this has been reawakened within them recently, maybe through something that they've seen, some kind of an interaction that you've had, some phase of this connection, maybe something you've discussed with one another. If this is someone you're in contact with, or again, this can really talk about a dream that they have had recently that was very significant, a meeting with you in the dream state that almost awoken something within them. It has awakened something within them. It has reawakened this love. And now that they are kind of looking into that, they're feeling into that, they're allowing themselves to experience that. The intensity of it is greater than they would have imagined was possible in terms of thinking of love and the experience of love with another person. It's also an intensification of the feelings that at one time they had for you. It's almost this energy of a quantum leap. If this is someone you're starting to get to know, someone that you are just kind of reconnecting with maybe after a while, or you're just kind of coming out of that period of separation, and what might have just been kind of baby steps with this person, taking things, very cautiously, trying to kind of reestablish that foundation of friendship with one another, acclimating to one another again. There's this idea of, again, a quantum leap, things having really soared beyond their expectations, the feelings that they have for you being more intense than they would have imagined, maybe coming on much sooner than they thought was possible. There's been an evolution in that, an advancement in that. If this is someone where it's a total no contact situation, and this idea of evolution, as time goes on, their feelings for you do not fade. At times, they may kind of close themselves off to that, try to distract themselves, try not to focus on that, but they can't help but feel this. They can't help but feel and experience this love for you. It feels like on multiple levels, throughout their body, throughout their energetic body, in different ways this love manifests. This love makes itself known. If this is somebody that you are in total separation from, with this idea of hope here, kind of the more that they are leaning into this, whatever has been activated within them, maybe they are on some kind of an ascension journey, or due to kind of cosmic energies that are affecting them currently, maybe even work that you have done on yourself to kind of detach from the situation, to raise your vibration, and take your power back from this, that it has rippled over to them. It has awakened something within them. It has reactivated or re-sparked something within them. An energy of resistance has now given way to a level of peace and surrender, where they are kind of renewed. This is this energy of hope. This is really bringing to mind the star card, also in the major arcana of tarot, and kind of that energy of after the tower, after the crumbling, after whatever went awry between the two of you, maybe even a degree of denial that this person was in, trying to kind of extinguish or squash out these feelings, ignore these feelings, kind of move in another direction. And after that kind of darkness, the silence, a time where they were not acknowledging this, not focusing on this, trying not to feel it, or again, it had kind of dimmed to almost an ember, but never was fully extinguished, that there's been a resurgent in resurgence in this love. It's this glimmer of hope. Now that they are seeing and experiencing this with fresh eyes from a fresh perspective, there's an interest in moving towards this, in rising above and in evolving beyond the current circumstances, transforming their idea of maybe how they have come to experience and know love up to this point. In some way, you have helped to reshape that, these feelings, the feelings that have stayed with them, the experiences that they have with you, the dreams that they have of you, the ways in which you meet in that liminal space, downloads that they are getting, interactions with their spiritual self, maybe coming more online in that, some kind of a spiritual awakening, an ascension path that they are on. They have now reached this crucial point of almost the horizon opening wider for them. Feelings that might have been very intense and very overwhelming, that they might have really run from, that were very triggering. They're starting to understand these things in a different manner. It's a love that's different than they had experienced. It's different than what they had expected, with this kind of this idea of these golden orbs of the heart center. Typically the colors associated with the heart chakra are green or pink, but then here it's these golden kind of orbs, this powerful energy, this high vibration, this kind of highly activated, this optimized energy that is beyond kind of that typical spectrum, that typical experience, the typical flavor or feel of love, and that really describes almost a feeling, a way in which they experience the sensations associated with you. It's next level. It's above anything they've ever known. As overwhelming as this may have been at one point in time, and to some degree still is, they are leaning into this place of peace and acceptance within them, allowing themselves to almost dip into this energy a lot more, instead of turning away. This is the energy of kind of leaning into that, exploring into that, coming into that awareness and admitting to themselves the feelings that they have for you, that they have always had for you, that defy explanation in a lot of ways. It is beyond what they have known or thought was possible in terms of love and connection with two people, and it's something where kind of that otherness that might have struck a chord of panic or distress because it was so different from what they've come to know, it's now equating a sense of peace. It's a sense of sanctuary. It's again this sense of warmth and consistency within them, that as other things are kind of changing and shifting within them and within their life, this remains. This is true. It's the idea of kind of sifting away all these different things that kind of clouded that, whether it was denial, maybe it's other things in their life that were wedges or barriers between the two of you, karmic situations, karmic patterns that are starting to fall away. As all this rubble clears and out of their life, their perception of the feelings that they have for you and the nature of this become more apparent to them. They are able to perceive this a lot more. They are able to receive this love on all levels. It infuses them on all levels. And again, is beyond what they have come to know or believe love is, or is, what is possible in love up to this point. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some clarification about this. They are still in love with you, kind of what they are feeling, how they are experiencing that. Okay, so we have the 10 of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Sun, which is Leo. 9 of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And Wheel of Fortune, which for me as a reader is mutable energy, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. So these are all really positive confirmations of what was coming through with this idea of the sun and these golden orbs, that it's this intense love, it's this next level love. It's a very peaceful and optimistic feeling that they have associated with you. It's this very invigorated feeling. It's this constancy. It's a feeling and a sensation which warms them, it nourishes them, it provides them, again, with this sense of hope. It's a light in the darkness, as a lot of things with the Wheel of Fortune are kind of changing in their life and internally. This energy of change, again, also ties into the ways in which they are kind of expanding their perspective of these feelings. Somebody that had been running from that, trying to deny that, really questioning or doubting that, This is shifting in the direction of acceptance. That 10 of Cups, that, that answers that question. You are that wish fulfillment for them. You are that idea of happily ever after, that maybe because of kind of external circumstances that they perceived or that actually were standing in the way of the two of you, really experiencing this or continuing or exploring this love further. Maybe this was internal kind of blockages within them, that fear of wish fulfillment. Something they'd always wished for arrives and it was very overwhelming to them. And so instinctually they ran when confronted with that mirror of perfect love. It brought up these feelings of inadequacy, fears of not being prepared, not being sure if what they had to give was good enough. Seeing in you this energy of, again, almost perfect love that they doubted. It really brought up that energy of doubt and fear, that this same kind of force or vibration existed within them, that's kind of set the course in this energy of retreat, which is very necessary to then come round to that period of appreciation, that independence. It feels that this love, as far as they see you and as far as they are viewing you, it's something that's very stable, it's consistent, it remains with them, it grows with time, it's bountiful, it has exponentially increased, as much as they may have taken steps to kind of extinguish that or ignore that. It keeps coming back. It's a constant. They can only kind of run from that or evade that for so long. And each time they come back around to it, each time that new day dawns within them, it's more plentiful than it was before. It's a level of consistency as well, that as time is going on, if this is a no contact situation, it's that consistency through time that is really making it apparent to them that as much as this feeling is outside of what they've come to know of love, it's forcing them to redefine that because of that element of consistency. It's a stability. If this is somebody that's new, that you're just kind of getting to know, or if this is somebody who you are reconciling with and it's just kind of at that beginning stages, you've just kind of opened that door again. This also talks about the grounding of that love, which is becoming firmly rooted. It's becoming very apparent to them in a variety of ways. Again, that idea of contrast, different from what they've known or experienced, an intensity of vibration that is very much wish fulfillment. It's almost the thing of dreams or fantasy, what they had always hoped love would feel like, a love that really encourages two people to be independent and powerful. It's a very empowering feeling, not a love that contains or takes to the point of depletion, but it's a very reciprocal energy. It's a very mutual energy. This person feels very fed by the feelings that they have for you, and is very much in this feeling capable and having this desire to give back, to again build something reciprocally, to feed into this feeling, to return the same amount and the nature of love that they are receiving from you and from this connection. So very positive energies. The sun is always a very positive sign in any reading. So confirmation right there that yes, they still love you, and especially if this is a situation where it's complete no contact, it's complete silence. That love for you still burns within them. It has not gone away. There may, kind of like the idea with the sun and this wheel of fortune, which is it talks about kind of elements and seasons. This idea of at times, during the winter months when that sun is a little, it's a little less bright in the sky. There's fewer hours of daylight. It never completely goes away. And then the wheel turns and we enter this time where, that love grows and it comes to that, that summertime love, that full sunshine, almost that's a little too intense at times, that then requires this kind of ebbing away. So it's a love that really sticks with this person. There's a consistency with it. It's something that at various points in time, they have felt and they have experienced and they've allowed themselves to indulge in a more intense manner. Other times where they kind of, pull back or, other kind of things are surfacing. maybe karmic cycles or patterns within themselves, within their life, that are, triggered by the intensity and the nature of these feelings, things that they are confronted with, shadows within themselves, portions of their own reflection that either need to be embraced or released in order to be able to step back in, to bask in that sunlight of this love, to be able to endure that light a little longer, and to recognize within themselves that that same love exists, that same internal sunshine exists, as much as they, really credit you in certain ways for being that warmth, being that consistency within them. They're slowly starting to come to that realization that what they see in you exists within them as well. They're starting to really tap into that internal light within them, to shine that out. The love that they have for you and how they experience this, it shines a light on the dark corners of themselves. It helps them to identify and to rise beyond limitations, either external or things within themselves that they are confronting. So it's a very nourishing feeling, a very positive feeling. And again, if this is total silence and separation, this love has continued. It has not only remained consistent, but it has grown in nature. And at different times, you might feel this person energetically very intensely. Other times, or it kind of seems to wane or sort of pull back, but it's always there. There's no extinguishing this. It is that internal light. It is that core of love that the two of you are. So I'm going to get a few messages from this person's higher self and see what do they want you to know. Okay, and they say, I want you to be happy. So that energy of joy, that is the Sun card. And this really is talking about a sense of joy that the idea of you, when they allow themselves to bask in this love that this really infuses within them. It's that idea of reciprocity, wanting to give back. Perhaps at the point of their journey that they are at right now, they feel that remaining distant and remaining in the silence is that gift for you. They're understanding that they are confronting a lot of shadows, and that to, make these things known when they're still in this process of kind of finding that light within themselves, that it would just, it would complicate matters. They want to show up as their best self. They want to show up in this energy of being able to give as much as they receive. And so, kind of any sort of interest in remaining silent, in not coming forward, not expressing or declaring this. It's a matter of them acclimating to this reality. It takes time to kind of shift, to pivot away from the energy of kind of running from wish fulfillment to, again, that idea of everything they had wished and dreamed of that shows up, and it was very overwhelming to them. It's the idea of almost having to gradually wade back into this energy, back into that sense of, wishes do come true, dreams do come true, and it has presented itself to them in flesh and blood, in a real person, not just fantasy, but, something even beyond their own imaginings. And, as much as that might be contrary to what you would want out of this situation, from the standpoint that they are operating at this point in time, they're still in this process of awakening, of rising above certain things, of confronting shadows that the light of this love has illuminated for them. And so again, any kind of period of separation or distance, or if this is someone you're starting to reconcile with, somebody you're just starting to get to know, kind of this gradual build, this gradual brightening of the feelings, of leaning more into the light, into the potential between the two of you. It's something that they are feeling almost needs to be done at this very methodical and gradual pace, kind of like the dawning of a new day, and sort of when the sun just crests the horizon, and it's kind of that purple glow that gives way to gold, before that sun fully comes up into view, and then the whole world is illuminated. Going from that darkness to, being able to see, being able to perceive, feeling that warmth, going from the cold into the warm. And it's a very gradual process. It's something where this person feels, that there's no rush in this circumstance. They're really, trying to grasp and just sort of come to terms with the reality of the consistency of this, that no matter what they've done or said, or how they are approaching the situation now or in the past, this love remains, and it continues to grow exponentially. They also say, you are always in my thoughts. So even if this is complete silence, no contact, they think about you often. They are reminded of you often. You are that kind of golden center within them. You are that very empowered love. You are that definition of what love should be. And it's something that they think about, how they have behaved up to this point in time, what they would like to build and kind of grow towards with you in the future. A lot of thoughts about, this idea of happily ever after, what that would look like, kind of what is on the other side of sort of the shadowy period that they may be going through internally and that the situation may be going through. Also, again, if this is someone new or someone you're starting to kind of reconcile with, you've opened that door, you're starting to really be in each other's energy more directly, in each other's lives more directly than you have been in a while. During these kind of periods of time where you are interacting and then you both go your separate ways, you go about your day or your evening, you remain in their thoughts. They think about the encounters with you. They think about the things that are said. They're thinking about these feelings. They're very much aware of that. They're very much fixated on that. This is somebody who, may have turned away or been a little hesitant to kind of admit or face this light that shines within them for you, that has been really sparked or awakened within them, something that has been ignited within them. But it's something, again, kind of this gradual pivot. They are starting to face this more and more directly and for longer. They also say, you inspire me. So they see you as a very loving person, very confident in how you express your feelings, ways in which you have stood in the intensity of this love and you have endured that. If they have been the runner, if they have, been very stubborn in how they have progressed this or have tried to, again, kind of extinguish it, move away from it, deny it, they are very inspired with how you have really sat with this. You've sat through the storms. You've remained in that consistent energy. You've remained that constant presence within them. It inspires them to imagine something different for themselves, a different way of knowing love and being shaped by love. You inspire them to, kind of exude that, to tap into that inner light and shine that forth in all that they do. They also say your sensuality is so alluring. So there is this desire to enhance the connection between the two of you, to keep moving closer, keep moving toward the light that they feel within, this light that they feel and recognize and perceive as emanating from you. It draws them in. There's this energy of not wanting to remain out in the cold for much longer, or again, that idea of kind of seasons and the seasons turning with the wheel of fortune. Somebody who's leaning into that, who's kind of discontinuing, running away from this to some degree, and is moving more into that element of surrender, wanting to build, wanting to develop this connection beyond the current circumstances. So I'm going to get some romance angels for you, a little bit of guidance about the situation. Okay, and we have deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. So this can really tie into that idea of whatever they are projecting or telling you or showing you at this point in time, that is not the true indication of the feelings that they have for you. They may, again, sort of feel that silence or taking things very slowly is the best method at this point in time while they are working through some other things that they are needing to confront within them, maybe close out some external cycles in their life. But this is the energy of not mistaking the silence for disinterest. The feelings that they have for you have remained. They are constant and they grow exponentially despite what is being sort of displayed externally by this person at this time. And we also have religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. So this can really tie into the idea of the intensity of this, the nature of these feelings. It is so different from what they have come to believe or what they have been shown or what has been templated within them as far as the nature of partnership and the nature of feelings for another person, what that dynamic might look like. This can also tie into, again, sort of these external factors, fears, or, any kind of religious or cultural difference. All of these things that are perceived or actual barriers between the two of you that are really, it's part of that mask. It's part of that necessity of not coming right out and declaring this fully, reaching out for reconciliation, diving more deeply into this connection. It's this need, as they are feeling it, for this gradual kind of buildup a need to sort of go in and think about this, strategize, acclimate to this, really accept and harness the reality of their feelings for you, in order to allow that kind of heart space within them to lead the way past these barriers, which are actual or even just things that they are perceiving, they are interpreting as kind of limitations to the true expression of the nature of this love. So I'm going to get a couple of Archangel Michael cards for you as well. Okay, we have let go of fear now. Archangel Michael, please help me feel safe and deserving of your guidance. Thank you for clearing me of heavy, toxic, or ego-based thoughts or feelings. So that's a great confirmation as well of what this person is kind of currently going through, confronting a lot of shadows, a lot of the trappings of the ego, sort of moving beyond one worldview, one way in which they've been defining love, been defining themselves, and kind of the nature of who they are. There's elements of what they feel for you that has really illuminated who they truly are. You are a mirror for one another. Both things that they, are almost not willing to embrace about themselves. They're projecting a lot of that. Some fears of inadequacy might be kind of popping up for this person that they're needing to kind of move beyond. And this also really has brought to light some limitations, actual or perceived, in your external or their internal circumstances, that kind of internal narrative, that with that sword of truth, Archangel Michael's sword, they're in the process of needing to kind of cut through the old ways of being, the old definitions, and open themselves up to a reimagining of what love and partnership can look like. And we also have positive thoughts create positive results. Divine love and wisdom, I call upon you now. I know that my mind and emotions are eternally and continuously connected to you. I ask my higher self to be aware and conscious of the love and light that is within every person and situation. So again, this idea of you really acting as this mirror and reflecting to this person the perfection of love that exists within them. It's a gradual process of them really owning that, them really stepping into that role, recognizing that within themselves, any ways in which they've pedestalized you or, made this love almost out to be too good to be true. That idea of the wish fulfillment shows up and it's very overwhelming. They feel unprepared or inadequate for it. They are in this process of kind of cutting out the old narratives, cutting out the old story, cutting out a way of, or a tendency maybe to avoid, and sort of leaning into that, embracing that reality, allowing themselves to kind of fan these flames of love that they have within them for you, allowing themselves to really recognize and to identify that the same love they perceive as dwelling within you also resides within them. So in terms of guidance with that, just to continue to, focus on that core truth of love, move forward with your life in becoming that light and continuing unapologetically to identify and to harness and to shine that out, knowing that, no matter what the external circumstances look like, you are always at your core, that perfect love, that perfect luminous kind of being from within that is having this human experience, human experience with all of its kind of flaws and complications, that within you dwells that perfection, and just continuing to radiate that, emanating that, teaching this person, being that inspiration to this person, leading by example, not shying away from your own light, continuing to face the shadows that come forward for you, and just, continuing on this path of ascension, seeking to kind of redefine the borders by which you have contained yourself or have allowed yourself to be contained by others, finding ways, small ways, even if it's just, changing your thoughts when you're faced with doubt or fear, correcting that with a dose of optimism, with reminders of all the wonderful things about you, all the things you've accomplished, rather than focusing on how much further you have to go or how difficult it may seem or, how frustrating the circumstances are, slipping into that space of gratitude for the present moment, and for the bounty of possibility which exists within you, this light which exists within you, which can never be extinguished. It can never go out. There are times where, you know, that light becomes a little more dim. It's a little harder to see. It shines a little less frequency, but the season will change. You know, your luck will change. The circumstances will change. There's always the ability to kind of reconstruct our external circumstances by first and foremost kind of doing that reconstruction work within ourselves. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got I, P, D, R, F, Q, A, V, U, C, and Z. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings, which are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Aventurine obelisk, along with these cards, which I'll start with to get an overview of, are they still in love with you? We have a hidden gift, sadness, an ending, a new beginning. Thinking of you, a loving thought, serendipity. Transformation. And free spirit. So this does look like they do still love you, and it's something which they may have realized kind of after the fact, something where they may have taken you for granted, taken this love for granted, taken their feelings for granted, and they have only just now come to this understanding. It's this idea of almost realizing what you have now that it's gone. Ways in which they took you for granted before, they are now seeing you as a blessing, as a gift. There's this energy of feeling very much like Five of Pentacles, very much on the outskirts of your life looking in. Somebody who's having to just kind of bask in that energy of nostalgia, thinking back on memories with you, thinking back on times that you have shared, and seeing that with a degree of clarity, but it's also adding to heaviness within them. With this idea of free spirit, this feels like somebody who's definitely haunted by memories of how they took this love for granted in the past, how they took you for granted in the past. Something that has really changed as well with transformation, where what they maybe were just defining as lust before, or something that was physical attraction, it's taking on this deeper level of meaning. This can also really tie into experiences that they may have had with other people. This definitely feels like a situation where it's a no contact circumstance. This may be somebody who, has just kind of recently made a reappearance in your life, maybe tried to reach out, or is kind of on the peripheral of your life, kind of on that brink, that threshold of making contact. But it feels like an energy definitely of the past. And that as time has gone on between the period when the two of you, were in each other's lives, when you were really participating with each other in a more active way, and they may have moved in another direction, maybe dated other people. Perhaps there's even this idea of kind of, with this imagery here on this free spirit, it's reminding me almost of Two of Pentacles with the arms outstretched. So maybe they were juggling you and a third party, you and somebody else, and a choice was made to move in another direction. You kind of being the one then that was left out in the cold. Something having kind of become very lopsided in that, very imbalanced. It's this idea almost of a table that has been tilted and all the contents of that table sort of falling off. Whatever that other circumstance they were involved in or embroiled in has fallen apart or is falling apart. They're coming to this realization that they made the wrong choice, that they overlooked true love in the interest maybe of what appeared on the surface to be the best choice. Kind of that all that glitters energy, the shiny one, the one that, fit in with sort of the expectations of people around them culturally, or their family, or, just even this projection that they had at that stage of their personal evolutionary journey of what they were looking for in a partnership, what they were valuing, what they were kind of prioritizing, energies that they were feeding into that maybe somebody else, or even just the idea of you maybe being more free-spirited, you being more spiritual, you being on this ascension path, even if this wasn't, a choice between two people, and it was a choice by this person not to embark upon that, to stay within that comfort zone, to stay with what was in familiar and known. It was something where they weren't placing a value on that, on experiencing this next level love, on transcending, areas of their own life, areas of their own experience up to that point in time in life and in love. And it's an energy of regret now, where you may have been perceived by them just to be a little too extreme, a little too outside of the box of what they were looking for. There were feelings there, but it feels that they were almost misdefining that, or that they weren't at the level of almost ascension or perception within themselves to be able to really scratch beneath the surface and to identify the core of love that existed there. It was something they almost dismissed this too quickly. They almost, ended things too abruptly, sort of an energy of judging a book by its cover, or misjudging, misconstruing, or misinterpreting something that was almost, it feels like the seed of love, and they were not valuing or appreciating what that seed had the potential to grow into. That seed has remained with them. It is that seed which has now been cracked open. They've cracked into that shell. They've looked into that, or other experiences that they've had. Maybe again, a circumstance falling apart, someone else they chose to move in the direction with, that has fallen apart. Those masks have fallen off. The reality of that has become apparent, of whatever they may feel perhaps even trapped in, or whatever has fallen apart, and they are now finding themselves kind of stranded, kind of left alone with their own thoughts and emotions, left alone to sort of reflect and look back on how they got to this point in their life. If it was even a choice not to, accept that cup of love you had to offer, not to plant and tend and nourish and see what that seed between the two of you had the ability to grow into. If it was a choice to just keep their options open, to remain single, or just not to invest in this, again, there's a sense of, as time has passed, that seed still remains with them. And as they are looking around at the reality, at the world that surrounds them, the people that surrounds them, the energies that surround them, it's a very cold energy that's around this person. It's very dark and it's very desolate. And there's a sense of regret, of really not enjoying the bed that they have made, that they are now sleeping in, perhaps literally somebody's bed that they are, they're cohabitating with, somebody that they're dating, someone they're with, or even a sense of being alone at this point in their life. Maybe they are reaching a milestone point, some major kind of threshold, the 30th birthday, the 40th birthday, 50th, 60th, whatever it is, or just kind of a period in their life when others around them are kind of settling down, having families, getting married, having kids. Other people are, kind of finding their partner, their person. And this individual is just feeling very forlorn, feeling that they have, turned their back on what had the potential and is now being realized within them, remains in that place of potential, like this untapped potential between the two of you, starting to see things from a new light, starting to really, again, kind of in this energy of nostalgia and memory, think back and sort of seeing from a different angle experiences that you've had with one another, energies that were exchanged, things that were said, little seeds planted within them that are now cracked open, that are now germinating. And it's an energy of regret for having turned their back on the potential of a love that could have been quite luminous, on a love that could have really grown into something satisfying, on a love that at this stage of their life is what they need. They may have thought they wanted something else. They may have moved in the direction of what was very kind of immediately within that realm of want. Now they are in this place of recognizing that what you hold within you, what existed and was exchanged between the two of you, is what they need. And there's a gift in all of this. This is part of this process of this person breaking free of limitations, breaking free of patterns, breaking free of, this tendency perhaps to just judge things very superficially, perhaps even a fear of commitment, where they're pushing the love, the stability that, could exist in their life, pushing that aside in the interest of, just trying to remain unattached, fearful of that, not feeling worthy and deserving of that. So in terms of just at this point answering that question, are they still in love with you? It feels like this was never something that they at the time allowed themselves to really even conceptualize as love. They never allowed themselves to really dive into that. They were misconstruing that. And it is only now at this point in time that they are starting to explore that possibility of what they may have quickly or superficially dismissed as just a surface level interest or a lust or a temptation. They're now starting to recognize that there were all the kind of makings and the vibrations. It's all the facets of what love should be. So it still exists within them, but they're just coming into that kind of awareness and redefinition. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little bit of clarification about this. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Strength, which is Leo. Temperance, which is Sagittarius. And Seven of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. So right away with Temperance, a card of patience, this can tie into the idea of time having passed, something becoming clear to this person only now. The idea of Ace of Wands is kind of, it's that beginning stages, it's that spark. It's a spark which was never fully extinguished that has now been reactivated within this person because of the place that they are at in their life, because of choices they have made, how these things have played out, and where they find themselves again, perhaps at this crossroads or at a need to create crossroads for themselves, to bring some balance into their life. Both Strength and Temperance are cards of balance, reconciling the shadows, coming to a place of self-forgiveness for the ways in which they were blind or kind of even closed off in the heart space, or even just forgiving themselves for the level of kind of spiritual development and emotional development that they were at when they kind of rejected this, when they sort of pushed this away or chose not to invest in this seed of potential in nurturing this between the two of you, and needing to kind of learn from that, learn from those mistakes. Obviously, we can't go back in time and correct things, but there is the ability to kind of change our fate, change our future by, in the very present moment, choosing to approach a situation differently. So this does feel like something where they're coming into that awareness, this balance is happening, that the seed of potential, those kind of embers of love that they had been misconstruing as something, kind of tempting, something very, just kind of sneaky, something that it's almost an energy of mistrust, that they weren't, it almost feels like at this point in this person's journey, they're starting to realize that the feelings that they have for you, or what might have existed, what that might have grown into, that it's something that is so far outside of the bounds of what they've known up to this point in time that there was almost a little fear or distrust, this inclination to sort of push that away for the otherness of it, misdefining it, miscategorizing this in some way. But it has stayed with them, with this idea of kind of the man looking over his shoulder in the Seven of Swords, that, they're reflecting on that. They're looking back on that. They're looking on how they, maybe mishandled this, how they took this connection for granted, what was really left behind. The clarity that was lacking at that point in time is now apparent with these two swords that kind of remain. And normally in the Two of Swords, it's the figure with the crossed swords. These swords are uncrossed. These are the clarity. This is Ace of Swords, Ace of Swords. That's truth. That's coming to that realization. What was not apparent is now very clear. And there's a sense of, again, not being able to go back in time, but almost regret at having missed something, having misperceived something, misconstrued something, only at this point in time recognizing the hidden gift, the hidden blessing, the seeds of love that existed between the two of you that, have continued with them, have followed with them, have in a way been cracked open or are more apparent. They're seeing this with new eyes. They're sort of freeing themselves of the ways in which they miscategorized this love previously. And it is part of a very important sort of initiatory process for this person, that energy of regret, and kind of that missed opportunity, having missed the boat in this circumstance. It's very necessary for their kind of ascension at this point in time to sort of pick up the pieces, to take that seed and to try and grow that in other ways in their life. Work through some shadows within themselves, a deep dive into self-exploration. Why did they have a block up to this? Why were they not able to, perceive kind of the genuine article and distinguish that from the artificial, from something that was just, why were they prioritizing things that maybe just fit into that kind of surface level requirements, and really kind of at the expense of things that were more of a spiritual nature, coming online to that spiritual self, a heart chakra activation that may have also just recently taken place that has essentially kind of cleared the way, cleared a lot of this fog, given this person this perspective that it doesn't feel like they are equating this with true love, but this is the seed of something that could have grown into that. It's closer to that idea of true love than what else they have experienced and what they have known previously. And they are now at this place of almost wanting to kind of create an environment in their life and within themselves that would be fertile ground for a seed like this, of this type and nature, to be planted, to grow and to germinate into something worthy of harvest, either in the form of perhaps coming forward for reconciliation in the future, or even something where, if that door is closed, then the next time they encounter such a seed of love, to lean into possibility rather than kind of push it away with the energy of fear and mistrust. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you now, group 2, and see what do they want you to know. Okay, and they say it's okay to move on. So this can again tie into the idea of time having passed since this kind of period of separation began, since a choice that was made not to invest in this or to discontinue their investment in this seed of love that had the potential to become something very beautiful between the two of you. It's this energy of recognizing that they took you for granted, recognizing that they almost squandered an opportunity for happiness. And they're very much focused on this time at sort of making some corrections within themselves. They know they are not at a place of readiness. Maybe a lot of things need to be kind of cleared out of their life, need to be kind of discarded and transcended before they again have that very fertile environment within them and within their kind of physical reality to be able to offer something of substance. So it's almost something that at this point in time they're willing and accepting that this may just be a seed of regret they have to carry with them. The idea of reconciliation doesn't seem to be a realistic possibility for them at this point in time. They feel that they've just come to this awareness. They don't really have anything of value to offer that would be a substantial indicator of change from what you had experienced with them in the past. They are recognizing that there is transformation that needs to take place on a personal level before they can come forward, before they can have a cup of love that is worthy of you, something that can be reciprocated, something they can be consistent with, and so a journey ahead for them. So this is from their higher self letting you know that the message has hit home. They have become aware of kind of greater potential that existed between the two of you that in the past they were unable to kind of recognize or to really appreciate. And so if you need to move on, if that is in your best interest, opening your heart to love, there will be a heart out there that will be ready to receive you, that will have done this work, that will have transcended this, that will see you and will recognize that seed of potential, that spark when it is ignited between the two of you. And rather than run or take this for granted or not understanding it, that there is a heart out there that is meant to love you. And so this person really is encouraging you to kind of move in that direction, move in the direction of your fulfillment in this lifetime. You deserve love in this lifetime. You deserve more than just kind of waiting around, sitting around, hoping that this person will change, because as they are seeing it at this point in their journey, they have a very long way to go, a lot to do before they are at that place of readiness of really being able to participate with you to kind of revive this connection in a substantial way. They also say write down your feelings. So they are encouraging you to, kind of purge and release anything that, questions or frustrations, sorrow, or even just feelings of love and longing that you have held within you. This person is wanting you to release yourself from this situation in some way, from any way that you have really been holding on, or it's been a holding pattern, that in some way, you owe it to yourself to liberate yourself from whatever they have left you with, whatever sort of disappointments they have left you with through their inability to recognize the worth and value of the love you had to offer, the potential that existed between the two of you in the past. This idea of writing down your feelings, writing a letter to this person even, burning that, spreading the ashes, burying the ashes, asking the universe to transmute this energy for you, to kind of free you from those cords that are binding you to the past, to that experience, to that crossroads point where the potential was unactualized and the two of you moved in different directions. In some way, this may be keeping you stagnant or keeping you stuck from stepping forth into, that future to intersect with that heart that is meant to love you, or to even move forward in your journey in some way, which essentially energetically helps to also free this person to continue on their journey, their path of ascension. It is possible that the two of you will cross paths in the future, but at this point in time, it feels like very independent journeys need to take place. There are experiences each of you need to have, processes each of you need to go through independent of one another in order to step into this place of balance, in order to reconcile these shadows with the higher self, the light and the darkness within each of you, reaching that place of, again, balance, becoming the yin to your own yang, in order to be able to, offer and to receive a love that is whole and self-aware and, self-sufficient, not kind of this lopsided dependency that might have existed, kind of picking up the pieces of your own heart, becoming your own saviors in this circumstance in order to align with somebody who, whether it's this person or another person, where you only kind of add to the measure of each other's lives. You only enhance each other's lives rather than being reliant on somebody else to kind of pick up those broken pieces, fill that void, fill that space. And they also say, I am a walking, talking 9 of Swords. So a lot of anxiety and nightmares and just this feeling of what have I done? They are definitely sitting in this regret right now. Something has become very clear to them about a choice that was made, the wrong choice that was made, or, a decision to maybe dismiss the potential here, a way in which they misdefined or misconstrued or didn't appreciate the potential that existed with you in the past. That has stayed with them, that has lingered with them. It is a seed that has now been cracked open. They've taken a peek within, or they've been granted access to seeing things from a new perspective. And it is a feeling of dread and of regret that they are not sure how to really move beyond. They're just kind of sitting in this energy right now, not really sure of a way forward. They also say, I fear rejection. So this can tie into that element of knowing that there are things they need to clean up in their own life and within themselves and balance out before they have anything really of value to offer in the form of reconciliation, or, maybe tending that seed that in the past was just kind of discarded. A lot of this, they may be almost building up to be more of a mountain than it needs to be, a fear of rejection, a feeling of inadequacy that has really been brought up by this, a feeling of regret for having been, blind or oblivious to the nature, the potential of this connection. And so a little bit of pity, self-pity that this person is sitting in. They're kind of feeling that they need to just be in this shadowy energy, almost punishing themselves a little bit. Some of that might be very founded. There definitely seems to be work that they need to do. But it's almost, they're not entertaining that possibility of change, positive change in this situation anytime soon. Because of that, again, sort of a feeling of inadequacy, or recognizing all the internal and personal work that they need to do, work on their life, work on their circumstances. And so it's just easier to kind of stay away rather than present themselves as this work in progress. A fear as well of maybe approaching you and almost the ways in which they rejected you, feeling or projecting that shadow onto you, assuming the worst, assuming you would slam the door in their face, assuming that you would, reject them as kind of payback for what was done. And it's that element of fear is one of these shadows that they are needing to face at this time and kind of move beyond. So I'm going to get a couple of romance angels cards for you now. Okay, and we have getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. So this really talks about the stage that this person is at, facing their own shadows, facing their own regret, getting to know themselves very intimately, both their virtues and their deficits. This person is needing to go on this journey of self-discovery, self-forgiveness, reconciling actions that they've taken, inactions that they've taken, ways in which they have, miscategorized or prioritized things that really didn't have a lot to give of substance in return. All of this is a very necessary stage of this person's journey before they are able to kind of transcend this energy and have anything of merit to really offer in terms of love or tending the seed of love, either with you in the future or with another. And we've also got engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So that ties in with this idea of an ascension or an awakening journey that this person is on. They are starting to embark on this process of coming into union with self. That is a crucial stage that they are at. That is what has really kind of the seed of love that they have for you that has remained with them, that they are now starting to look at or perceive from a different perspective. That is that spark. That is that initial phase on this journey of self-discovery, this journey of getting to know themselves. If you've been on an ascension path, it feels like this person is very far behind you. They're just now getting started on that work. And again, it's a work in progress. If you think of how long it has taken you to get to the point where you are at, and now imagine that this person has deferred that. They have kind of put that off. They're needing to make up for lost time. It's not something that can be fast-tracked. It's not something that overnight there will be change. It's a gradual process of looking at those shadows, finding that light, all those layers of healing again and again and again, kind of readdressing, reconfronting these same kind of core wounds and issues. That act of self-forgiveness can often be very daunting. It's something which needs to be approached again and again, kind of repeated until it becomes routine, until it becomes ingrained, the breaking out of certain other cycles. So this is definitely a long haul energy here, where change has started to happen. It's, that corner has been turned. They have seen that. They are now at that crucial point of realizing what they had now that it's gone. And there may be a little more waiting around in that darkness, kind of wandering through that valley of the shadow of death, just feeling sorry for themselves, sitting in that anxiety and that self-pity before they really take the initiative to kind of pick up the pieces, to reinvigorate themselves, to harness that spark of hope, that spark of possibility, and to really kind of climb out of that pit that they may find themselves in. So I'm going to get a couple of Archangel Michael cards for you as well. And we have, pay attention to your dreams. Thank you for tucking me into bed tonight and helping me enjoy a wonderfully restful night's sleep. Archangel Michael, I invite you into my dreams as my teacher, guide, and healer. Please allow me to understand this situation on a spiritual level and give me guidance. So this is really talking again about that perspective and that hindsight. It has become very apparent to this person now after the fact, what it is they walked away from, what it is they sabotaged, kind of that energy of contrast between the choices that were made. This is almost, if you had kind of had this feeling of, it would only be in your wildest dreams or kind of outside of the realm of possibility that this person would change. This is also the energy of, that wildest dream has come true. There's been a spark. There has been some kind of a realization. It is that beginning stage. It is just that spark. It is just that kernel. And there's a potential for that to really exceed the parameters of what you think is possible. This person may take this journey of transcendence, this journey of ascension. They may take this very seriously. The lesson that's been learned, how that has really hit home for them. There may be very miraculous changes within this person. It may be something where this just always remains in the dream state. It always remains in that kind of, that woulda, coulda, shoulda energy. They may choose to remain in that vibration of self-pity and not really, take any kind of action steps to move beyond. The important thing is that you work to free yourself. You work to kind of detach from whatever ways you have been bound to that point of rejection, to that point of being abandoned, to that unrequited love, that you take your power back from this circumstance, that you understand that your dreams of love can come true. It may be another heart that is the one that is, ready and open and has done that work and is able to receive you and reciprocate in kind. It is possible that it will be this person in the future, but at this point you are guided to detach from this situation and from any kind of expectations of time on it. With temperance, this is, patience. This is timing. This is not an immediate, overnight, drastic shift, but it's kind of a slow progression to that. And so at this point in time, exploring other dreams that you've had that maybe you've been deferring, you haven't been prioritizing because you've been stuck kind of in this energy of what has happened with this person, taking your power back from this situation, utilizing that, harnessing that, into infusing and growing other seeds in your life that you want to plant, and you want to see come to fruition, other dreams that you want to experience, that you want to make reality, leaving this person and their kind of energy to sort of stew in this, to find their own way through the darkness, to navigate their own way as they will or as they won't through this circumstance. Now's the time to really reach for your dreams, reach for a different kind of horizon, and sort of create closure for yourself as best as you can in this process while this person is going through this very necessary kind of ascension stage, this coming home to themselves, this internal union, which is very necessary for any kind of change to be possible in a long-term and positive and constructive and lasting way in this circumstance. And we also have innocence. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see that all of your qualities of pure love and light are reflected within me and all others. Help me embrace my God-given innocence so that I may be at peace. So this is the energy of a fresh start, of needing to release this situation in some way. You're really guided to kind of take this beginner's mind, open your mind and your heart and your energy to the possibility that the love you are seeking, it may come in the form of a different person. Also, if you choose to, keeping that door of hope open just a crack for this person, that in a reimagined version of themselves, a fresh start may be possible in the future. Now's the time to, open some other doors for yourself. Look towards some other horizons. Focus on some other things. Give this situation a chance to really breathe. Give yourself that breath of fresh air that you have been seeking. Be your own savior in this circumstance. There's love for you out there. It may be in the form of this person or in the form of somebody else, but there's this idea of having lingered for long enough in this circumstance, keeping that, knowing that inner truth, that the seed of love, the potential of that existed between the two of you, it was very real. That potential was very real. This person has had some kind of an epiphany or an awareness, an awakening about that. They see now what wasn't clear to them before. That can be maybe some form of vindication for you. But now is really the time to maybe embark on a new direction. Any ways in which you've been limiting yourself by these circumstances, by the feelings that have, generated it within you based on these circumstances. Now's the time to liberate yourself from that and really step into this energy of optimism. There are so many more blessings and bounty that the universe wants to give to you. People, again, that can appreciate you, appreciate the love you have to give, that will participate with you, that will water and tend and nurture those seeds, those sparks. This person is not the only spark. This might be, kind of the spark that ignited a major chapter of your life, but, there's so much more out there for you. There's so much more out there to experience. And this person needs this time and space as well, perhaps while your attention is focused on other things, to have that ability to self-reflect, to have that ability to kind of wander their own darkness, to recognize and become that light, become that change that they wish to experience. To become that living embodiment of apology in the form of changed actions or behavior. Should the choice be made, and should you be willing to, entertain that or accept that or kind of hear that or entertain that of reconciliation by this person in the future, that it will require more than words. It will require demonstrations of change, a whole change in being, a whole change in vibration, a whole change in lifestyle and who they are and how they kind of move through the world. This is a change which will take time. It's a process. So in the meantime, focusing on other things is really, it's in the best interest of you first and foremost, and also in the potential that may in the future arise out of this connection. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got P, L, G, X, O, S, Y, Z, K, W, U, and I. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings, which are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. You chose the Rhodonite Tower along with these cards, which I'll start with to see, are they still in love with you? We've got Winter's End, regeneration, rebirth, positive outcome. Night Wind, facing fear, subconscious release, healing. Integrity, and strength. So I'm drawn to the spiral on the heart chakra and this integrity card, first of all. And this really does talk about love that they still have for you, love that has really transformed their life in many ways. You have helped this person to reimagine or to know what love is in a more profound manner than they thought was possible. This love has really activated this person. They have been on some kind of a spiritual journey. With this idea of night wind and winter's end, they could be in a dark night of the soul. This light has almost, the light of love has been a beacon. It has been kind of the only grain of hope that they may have had, something that they've really relied upon, that they've come back to. Almost with a lot of shadows that they've been facing within themselves, the answer comes back to love each and every time. This idea as well with strength of paper tigers, fears that they may have really been building up to be more than they actually are, that they have been in this process of confronting within themselves. And this love has almost been a shield. It has been a sword for this person. It has been this encouragement for this person, both kind of in a very general, like energetic sense. The love that is exchanged between the both of you has been that strength. It has been that courage. It has been that companion with them through this process of facing fears, of kind of breaking these things down gradually. Fears within themselves, blocks within themselves also that have limited their ability or willingness to experience and exchange love with another person or with you even previously. This is bringing to mind also this idea of this person transcending a way in which they were able to understand or experience this love, in which they were able to really define love in some way. The love that they have for you has been sort of a cornerstone on their own sort of self-love journey, learning to love themselves in the light and the shadow for all that they are, for the regrets that they have, and also the victories that they celebrate within themselves. And there have been periods of time where this love has almost been the only light in their life. It is something which has really changed. It has helped to change them with this idea of wind and this air energy, this mental energy. The ways in which they were defining this have really evolved. With this idea of the eagle here as well, this is an energy of transcendence and this illuminated third eye chakra. This is this person really perceiving this, communicating, interacting, co-creating with this energy of love that they have for you in a new way. Somebody who, may not be at the place of really being able to speak this truth, speak this love, speak this revelation that they've had, a lot of darkness that they are in right now, but it does feel that they are, telepathically communicating this. From the heart they are communicating this. Energetically they are reaching out to you. They are embracing you. They are embracing this love. It's the idea of almost the soul is very much in alignment with that. It is their 3D reality. It is that ego self. Again, these paper tigers that they are confronting, that they are needing to almost vanquish these foes within themselves by embracing that, by recognizing that, they are the enemy. They are that which they are fearing. There is nothing to fear, truly, because it is all them. It is all within them. Balancing kind of these light and shadow aspects of self. Very much a strengthening force, something that has really endured, something that they feel deeply within their core. Again, this struggle between the soul and the 3D reality, that the soul is very much in alignment with that truth, that love, and is pulling this person at times voluntarily, at other times almost against their will, into kind of these darkened areas, these shadows within self, this period of dormancy and of quiet, which has been very necessary to this person's own personal evolution towards stepping into that greater version of self that is able to really harness and express and experience and participate with this next level love in a more concise manner. Somebody who feels very strengthened by this, sees the feelings that they have for you, the love that they have for you as a source of strength. They may have turned their back on this feeling, on this love, on you at one point in time. And as their life has almost descended into a certain level of darkness, as other kind of struggles have come up, tower moments have happened for them. It has all come back to, this core, this truth, this reality that the two of you really are companions for one another. This love endures. This love is that strength. It is that motivation. It is that fuel. It is that source which helps them to face their own internal darkness. It is that companion with them when all the world has sort of fallen away. You are that light in the dark for them. This love is this core truth. It is this core reality. But again, there feels to be almost a disconnect, that at a soul level, at the higher self level, you're very connected with one another. This is a reality. This is a truth. It is something that almost that ego self, it feels almost like a radio signal or a television signal, that at times, there might be kind of that dissonance. The signal crackles. There's that interruption. It blinks in and out. And I'm dating myself here, but for people over a certain age, you will understand this kind of this reference. But it was, back in the day when we had the TV with the antenna, and sometimes the TV signal would go out, and you'd have to go to those rabbit ears and kind of adjust that antenna in order to find that frequency again. And this very kind of sporadic movement. Nothing had changed, and yet all of a sudden the clear signal goes kind of foggy. It goes kind of fuzzy. That's what it feels like this love is. This is the constancy of that signal from the higher self, from the soul. And it's that 3D self that is kind of moving, is churning, is kind of going in and out, is blinking in and out, feels this and understands this very clearly, very unquestionably at times. And then almost these fears or these shadows, something interrupts that. And the signal, that truth, that knowing that is pulling them towards you, is pulling them toward that reality, is pulling this reality out from within. It becomes distorted. They almost become distracted by something, not in terms of the possibility of love elsewhere, but almost these shadows within themselves, maybe something that comes up in their life, some fear that they need to face, some external obstacle that kind of pulls them off of that trajectory, off of that very clear reception of that core reality, that what they feel for you is the most truth in terms of love than they have ever known. It is a transformational love. It is a doorway. It is a gateway. It is a portal deeper within themselves. It is that aperture through which the best version of self is accessed and emerges. So very deep, very profound, with all of this kind of white light here. This is very high level love that may also be beyond kind of the logical and 3D ego self's ability to comprehend and really put that to words, really conceptualize that. That can kind of account for that metaphor, that imagery of sort of the antenna and kind of that signal that sort of comes in and out, gets a little bit foggy, almost like a white noise, a crackle that sort of comes through in that as they're kind of reaching and expanding as quickly as they can, ascending as quickly as they can into, on kind of a denser level, being able to sort of match up with that, that pure uncertainty, that vibration of the higher self, this ascension process. And at times, they stumble. It's the idea of kind of like climbing a mountain. And at times they look down at how far that fall might be, or they look up at how much further they have to go rather than kind of staying in the moment. And it fills them with a sense of panic, with a sense of uncertainty, with a sense of doubt that almost is the interference in that signal. They lose sight of that from time to time, but it always comes back to that. This is their center. This is their grounding. This is that core truth and reality for them, is this love, which is almost, it is forcing them to learn a new language, almost the language of feeling, the language of sensation, the language of trust. It's a love that they feel for you that defies logic. It defies experience. It's very otherworldly. It's very spiritual. It is a source of spiritual strength for them. But this feels like somebody who is leaning more, who is climbing more into that version of themselves, climbing out of an old reality into that newer version of self, that rebirth, that positive outcome, that regeneration. They're facing the fear, they're healing, they're moving beyond that. They're stepping into the capacity to be able to understand or even express purely through feeling, and to be very comfortable with that, this kind of undefinable and very intense and next level, this cosmic love, this cosmic connection that they have with you. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little more clarification about this. Okay, we have the Nine of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Two of Wands, so more fire energy. Seven of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And Judgment, which is Scorpio. So there definitely are those elements that confirm what came through in these oracle cards of fears with the wounded warrior there. And, you know, facing that fear, the element of choice being in both of these cards. Seven of Cups being a card of choice. Two of Wands being a card of choice, of transcending the material reality and stepping into that spiritual self, a choice to embark upon this, a choice that this person keeps coming back around to, that the intensity, the nature of this, this very spiritual connection with you, something that, you know, revives them, something that awakens a dormancy within them. This is a source of personal power. This is an ancient love. The two of you have shared many lifetimes together. It's this soul recognition that has been really activated within them. They are on this ascension path. They are on this ascension journey with you, in tandem with you, the two of you unified in that higher level. And these fears keep presenting themselves, these worries, self-imposed, external circumstances that really operate or exist on that vibration of fear, where, you know, there may be this kind of tendency to lean into that fear, allow that fear to move through them. But it's a choice they keep coming back to refocus, to refocus on that love, on that core reality, as we see here with this spiral. It's kind of again and again and again, this repetition. It keeps coming back to this reality that they feel, that they know. It defies expectation. It defies logic. It is a new world of truth for them. It is very healing for them. It is a choice that, you know, they keep reaching toward. They keep reviving this. They may be silent about this at this point in time, in terms of a direct reconciliation, in terms of maybe, you know, coming out from a state of dormancy, reviving this connection, or even turning the page on this connection to the next level. But it's something that internally, this reality is very apparent for them. As much as the fear might kind of at times pull them away from directly participating with this on an energetic level, the choice is made, the decision is made. It keeps coming back to the only choice, which is this core, which is this truth of love, this reality, which is unlike anything they've ever known. And it's something that at a soul level, they are being pulled toward. The 3D reality, things may look very complicated. It feels like somebody who goes through a lot of different battles, waging war with themselves at times, or just this deeply entrenched process of ascension that they are at. But their companion, their guide, their partner in all of this is you at the soul level. It's the two of you unified in this stance. You are two wings of the same creature, of the same creation, of this love. You stabilize each other. You uplift each other at the soul level, at that higher self level, which at times is really felt, it's perceived, it's leaned into, it's really accepted by this person on the 3D, on the ego level. They're comfortable with that. They're at peace with where things are. They feel very empowered to move forward. And then something occurs, which is almost, it's that next layer. It's that next layer of the onion, of the healing, where they're needing to address these fears, face these fears from different angles, to get deeper and deeper into that core reality, to raise that vibration, to be able to encompass and embody this very divine love that they have for you, that is that truth, that is that reality. The choice keeps coming back around, from that higher self internally within them. This is the truth. this is the core, this is the reality, is this love that they have. And they are in a very, it feels like a beautiful process of kind of unfolding, bringing forth that best version of self, finding that inner strength and that inner courage to, really allow that light of love that has been activated through this connection, that is fed by this connection, that is encouraged and motivated by this connection, even as it exists currently, even in a period of kind of dormancy on the outside and the silence. If this is like a full no contact situation, even in all of this darkness that this person is really contending, all these fears that they are having to face, it comes back to this reality. This is the hand that kind of helps them, that holds them, that pulls them through. Someone who looks to you as an energetic example, ways in which you have really been, healing your own wounds. You've really been transcending obstacles, internal or external, in your own life. This person energetically perceives that and is following that lead. This person may also be really sort of observing it from afar, maybe observing this very quietly, kind of from the shadows. They're very inspired. A choice is made on the emotional level. A choice has been made to harness that, to engage with that, to embark upon that path. Your journeys may look very different in terms of the transformation that's taking place, what that's looking like, the pace at which this is happening, but it's very much a tandem journey. It's two people who are kind of walking side by side on these parallel paths, connected in your core essence, although sort of the experiences of that, maybe theirs are a little more hands-on, yours is a little more of the spiritual nature, but it's the same journey of growth, of evolution, of transcendence. So very inspirational love. This person definitely is still in love with you. A love that is, it is of a spiritual nature. It is beyond romantic love. There are romantic components there, but this is soul love. This is the core truth and reality of who they are, the best version of self, that they're kind of in this process of, creating that balance within them, finding the strength to tap into that, to recognize that, to harness that, and to let that light shine, not just in terms of a declaration of love for you or moving toward this, but in the ways in which this love and this connection has changed them at a core level, has really brought something forth from them, from within them on a core level, and really transcending that, ascending into this next version of self. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self for you now, see what they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, when you hear our song, know that I am with you. So music may be very important to this connection. It may be a source of healing that they are really leaning into, connecting with you energetically at this point in time. It does feel like a lot of heaviness, a lot of different battles that this person is going through or has gone through, maybe since you both went into kind of a separation period, a no contact period. They are connecting with you energetically, vibrationally. They are reaching out and sending that love that at this point in time, the 3D, the ego self may be struggling to put words to, maybe, kind of facing a lot of these other kind of fears, tower moments, needing to rebuild their life, heal from some things, do a lot of inner child healing, core wounds that have been triggered by this situation, by the intensity and nature of this connection, or just other things that are surfacing in different forms in their life. And so, making the effort from their higher self energetically to connect with you, to send that love, to convey that love, while almost the 3D version of this person is kind of in this process of transmutation and evolution. And they also say trust. So trust in the signs that you are seeing, that you're receiving. Trust in the energy you are receiving from them. Trust that they love you, that love will never die, that love is the truest thing that they have ever known. They also say, without you, mornings are the worst. So they could be dreaming about you a lot. And almost when they wake up, they feel you energetically next to them. And it's kind of it's a letdown. It's a disappointment. They wake up, just kind of in that initial sort of haze and fog of feeling so good, having interacted with you, even dreams that they don't necessarily remember seeing you, but you two you're exchanging energy in kind of those liminal spaces. You're always in contact with one another. You're always in communion with one another. And, at the times where kind of the 3D, the ego mind is at rest, it's kind of, deactivated a little bit. That's where the connection is the most intense. This also really ties in with this idea of a lot that this person may be facing right now. They may be in a very dark place where they're almost dreading each new day, dreading the challenges that might bring, the fears that might bring, these paper tigers that they may be confronted with. And it's a sense of, in that dread, in that heavy feeling that they may have, that this core of love, this very kind of uplifting and spiritual frequency at which they connect with you on, that is really a motivation that helps them through, that gives them the endurance to push through and face their day, face their challenges. They also say, my past mistakes still haunt me. So a lot of guilt and shame that they may be confronting at this point in time about things that have happened in their life, ways in which they took this connection for granted, something about the spiritual component of it, that they, maybe the intensity of this, it kind of frightened them away. And that's really haunting them because they have now recognized you've really been this kind of, this guiding light for them in their darkest hour. You've been this companion for them when there was no one else around. There's been something where the changes that they are going through energetically, perhaps you're the only one they are resonating with, even if the two of you, are not talking. There's no kind of 3D relationship going on at this point in time. On a soul level, on a spiritual level, they feel connected to you more so than to anyone else. And that haunts them. The fact that you are not in their 3D reality, a lot that they may want to lean upon you on, exchanges of ideas, wishing that you could be there to celebrate some victories that they've experienced, wishing that, that they could be there to support you in your darkest hour, or that they had been in a more tangible sense as they are kind of going through these things themselves. It's this desire for healing, though, this energy of haunting, kind of facing these shadows, facing these fears, coming to that place of sort of reconciliation within themselves as the preparatory stage for the potential of, reconciliation, or kind of bringing this connection up out of the past, kind of resurrecting this connection. So I'm going to get some romance angels for you. A little bit of guidance about the situation. Okay, and we have keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So this is really encouraging you to, again, like with that energy of trust in what you are feeling, moving into a space out of polarization, of an either or. Either there's a connection or there's not. Moving into that energy of and, where you are accepting the reality of the 5D, the higher self, the soul connectedness of the two of you, and the reality of the 3D separation you are in, and the place that this person, from their ego level, where they are at in their journey. Both of these things are true. And it is that liminal space. It is walking between those two worlds where you are able to kind of navigate this. That is where the truth lies, is that in-between state of both of these things. Keeping an open mind that, these forces can balance themselves. Profound change can occur in this situation. This is somebody who is leaning into that, who is actively, it may appear to be very slow or kind of an arduous journey, but they are leaning into that. They are facing these fears. They have recognized and they feel and are still kind of trying to put words to or come up with some kind of a concept or an understanding of the nature of what they feel, but they recognize this. It exists within them as a very powerful spiritual force, as it is a very positive force within them. And this force will continue to guide them and you along your journeys, along your path, keeping an open mind that change is possible, reconciliation is possible, a reunion, a restart, the next level of this connection is possible in the future. We also have attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So this really encourages you to operate in that energy of receptivity, any kind of lack mentality, any kind of feelings of rejection that have stemmed from the past of this situation, or, feelings of being kind of let down when you sense this person energetically and then they're not turning up in the 3D, and kind of ways in which you are questioning, maybe you did something wrong, you haven't been doing enough of your healing work, ways in which you are maybe kind of almost blaming yourself for sabotaging your own manifestation of this person because you've entertained moments of doubt, switching that off into this attraction energy, this abundance mindset, understanding that in the time and manner best suited to everybody's highest good, that which you are seeking will come to you. Allowing this person the time and space to move through their ascension process. They feel you, they recognize this, and it is their role to almost take that action, to bring what they feel on the inside out. Your role in this situation is to receive, to be in that receptiveness, to receive the abundance and love that the universe has to offer you in other ways. That energy it's a frequency, it's a force. And as you are, grateful for and seeking other opportunities and receiving these things into your life, maybe things to do with friendship, or if you're entertaining new romance even, different forms of abundance to do with your career, different ways in which you're prioritizing and receiving, health and wellness into your life, that frequency of receiving, of attracting, it attracts in so much more than what you can imagine. And it is that kind of beacon that is pulling this person. It's helping this person pull the best version of themselves, that core truth, that love they feel for you, out into physical manifestation, out into, a new way of moving through the world, changes they need to make in their life, in their lifestyle, in their worldview, all of these things really contributing to sort of that higher vibrational version of self that wants to kind of meet up with you further along the journey so the two of you can experience a new level of love together. So I'm going to get a couple of Archangel Michael cards for you now. Okay, and we have decide to be happy now. Thank you for helping me open my heart to happiness, joy, and bliss. I am now willing to see all of the goodness in my life. So another confirmation of that energy of receptivity, opening yourself up to receive abundance and joy and love, healing, happiness, wholeness in all of its forms and varieties. It is that frequency that this person is pushing through their own internal darkness, through the darkness and the disruption that they are facing in their external world. They recognize that. They feel you on a soul level. You are magnetizing them in. So the best thing you can do for yourself and for this connection is to continue to focus on gratitude, on abundance, and receptivity in all of its forms. And we also have positive thoughts create positive results. Divine love and wisdom, I call upon you now. I know that my mind and emotions are eternally and continuously connected to you. I ask my higher self to be aware and conscious of the love and light that is within every person and situation. So a third confirmation there of really at this point in time, your task is to focus on abundance, focus on receptivity, on attracting rather than chasing. Open your mind and your heart and your life to receive. Detach from any kind of timelines or expectations of how this will look. When you feel this person energetically kind of coming towards you, receiving that energy with gratitude, with love, without trying to attach an expectation to, the 3D person immediately following. Sometimes that may be the case. At some point in time, that will most likely become a reality in some form or fashion in this situation, but it's all really subject to divine timing. Just consistently being grateful for the experiences of joy that we have encourages the universe to keep feeding us that, to keep providing us that. We send out that signal that we like it and we want more. So your positive thoughts, your optimism, your hope, keeping an open mind that the circumstances you find yourself in can and will change. Hope that this person will continue to push through their own kind of shadow work, their own process of kind of balancing, of reconciliation, of union within themselves in order to facilitate change in this circumstance. And really also this idea of the continuously connected to you, focusing on that and being very grateful for that. Again, that space of and, where the two of you are one, you are already in union from that higher self. And there's the reality of whatever distance exists between you in the 3D. It doesn't have to be either or, it's both of these things. Honoring both of these realities equally can help you in navigating your path forward to that same kind of space of internal balance, both your light and shadows, both the positive aspects about you and the things that you might want to change or you're not so proud of. Both of these things are really, that's the core fabric of who you truly are. Nobody is all light or shadow. We are a combination of all of these things. We are shades, we are variations. We change and we shift depending on the circumstances and what we encounter. And all of that is beautiful. That is the human experience. It is not something of polarity. It's a matter of flow. And so flowing within that, recognizing and honoring doubt that may come up, feelings of frustration and disappointment, and kind of balancing that out with optimism, finding then something to be grateful for. If this connection where it's at right now, if you find it frustrating, focusing your attentions on things that are going well in your life can create that energy of balance, which ripples out to this person. It is perceived, it is felt, it helps encourage them. It's a motivation for them as they continue to kind of navigate their path through their own journey toward that energy of union within self, which then opens up a greater possibility and potential for the love that they hold within you to be actualized out in the material plane. So I'm going to get some initials for you, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got V, J, Q, B, L, N, D, O, E, U, S, G, M, H, Z, and R. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings, which are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dreamcatchers, and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.